Hello, and welcome to another podcast by Kang and Hugh Croker. Hello, and welcome to another podcast. I'm Kang.
And I'm Hugh Croker. And today, we will be discussing an interesting topic, the decline of the Romanov Dynasty.
The Romanov Dynasty began in 1613 when Mikhail Fyodorovich was elected ruler of all of Russia.
This legacy lasted throughout the years, with autocracy troubling the Russian Empire. This came to an abrupt end 300 years later with the murder of Nicholas II and his family.
And although it is argued that it was during Nicholas II's era that the decline of the Romanov Dynasty occurred, me and Hugh believe otherwise, but don't share the same idea.
Yeah, fair point, King. But I believe that the reason for the decline of the Romanov dynasty was ultimately due to the compelling yet misleading influence that Gregory Rasputin had on the Romanovs. I'm sure that you think otherwise.
Yes, but I think the decline of the Romanov dynasty was ultimately because of Nick I.
Oh, alright, but what makes you come to that decision, Kang?
Well, in my opinion, Nicholas I was the reason for the fall of the Romanov dynasty because of his destructive behaviour with policies and foreign affairs, and he really discredited Russia's reputation. Historians describe him as being disastrous in both domestic and foreign policies. This destructive nature towards domestic and foreign affairs really put Russia in strife. Why do you think Rasputin was responsible for the fall of the Romanov dynasty? Croker?
Yeah, so firstly, Rasputin's influence was undeniably influential to the Tsar Nicholas II and his family, but more specifically, Tsarina Alexandra. During World War I, the Tsar left, and in his absence, gave power to the Tsarina. The Tsarina relied heavily on Gregory Rasputin. Rasputin ruled poorly, and due to his biased opinions, domestic affairs were managed crudely, causing problems within the regime.
But I think that was ultimately Nicholas II's fault.
Yeah, but what if it wasn't for Rasputin's misleading information and decisions? I don't think it would happen.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, so you stated before that Nicholas I had a destructive nature towards policies.
Yes, true.
Could you elaborate on the point?
Sure, no worries. For example, on the day of his inauguration to become Russia's new emperor, Nicholas refused reforms and a number of Russian officers decided to defy Nicholas's power. On December 14, 1825, 3,000 officers rebelled against him and called for a constitution. Nicholas reacted to this by ruthlessly ordering guards to attack the crowd, killing 100 protesters.
Oh, okay, and what happened to the rest?
Well, the rest of the protesters were rented out and arrested and incarcerated. To be honest, I think that Nicholas I was the reason for Nicholas's adverse use of power.
Yes, well you can say that it was Nicholas I's fault for being Nicholas II's reason for the downfall. But you also got to understand how compelling Rasputin was to Nicholas. Because we also have to remember that Rasputin healed their son, Alexei.
Yes, fair point. See, I can sort of understand how influential he was.
When Rasputin introduced himself, he stated that your son has haemophilia, and without me, your son will die. And this was arguably convincing to the family as their son was heir to the throne, and after trying for a boy, their only boy's life was in the hands of Rasputin.
I believe that the superstitious nature of Russia at the time affected the impact that Rasputin had, and I think that Nicholas should have relied more on scientific medicine, or at least not give all power to Rasputin.
Yeah, but his relevance at the time gave him empowerment.
Yeah.
Now, King, could you please describe the extent of the burden that Nicholas I left for Nicholas II?
Yeah, well, the last words he said to his family were, "Now I shall ascend to pray for Russia and for you. After Russia, I loved you above everything else in the world. Serve Russia." But he was a part of the Crimean War, and the Crimean War was managed and commanded very poorly on both sides, and the stubborn resistance to all serious change did not create a good name for the Tsar.
Did Nicholas I show Nicholas II how to rule though?
No, he didn't show him the aspects of becoming a leader, which reflected on Nicholas II. But I think we can come to a conclusion that the Romanov dynasty was a poorly commanded regime, and that certain factors impacted their downfall.
Yes, fair statement, King, and more specifically, factors such as poor leadership from Tsar Nicholas I and misleading influence from Gregory Rasputin played a huge role in that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. But until next time, that's all, folks. And don't forget to tune into our next episode.